Morning, everybody. This show is going to be about Oola. One of the things that we're going to do on the Knot is share information on how people can get help for mental health, for wellness. And today we have Carey and Shani from Oola, and they're going to tell us about the platform, a little bit how they got into this business, and how you guys got going. So, good morning. Thanks for coming. Thanks for taking the time.
Good morning. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So we talked before the show a little bit about what Oola is, right?
Right.
And the coolest thing, one of the cool things about it is the name. And you told a really great story, if you don't mind sharing that real quick.
Sure. So the founders, Dr. Dave and Dr. Troy, Dr. Troy was a very successful chiropractor, and Dr. Dave was his intern. And that's how they originally met. And Troy was a big mentor to Dave about crafting his dream life, creating it to be exactly how he wanted it to be. And he asked Dave one day, what would it feel like if you could live that dream life, like all your wildest dreams? And Dave flippantly said, "Ooh la la." And so that's where Oola came from.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And then you got involved in it in the incipient phase, like when they first started it, or?
But they actually started Oola about 8 or 9 years ago, right? Because it worked for both of them. They both led really extremely blessed lives. Interesting part about this story is Troy retired at the age of 42 and moved his family to Europe for several years. And Dave, through a lot of experiences, lost just about everything. And he's very open with this story about how he just literally lost his home, his family, got divorced, was living in a motel at one point. And he called Troy one day and said, I don't know how I got here, but if you can help me get back on track, if you can help me get my life back, we need to teach this to the world.
That's cool.
And so they wrote a book called Oola Life, and they went on a tour around the United States for a year in a bus, a VW bus, and everywhere they went.
Like literally a VW bus?
Yes.
Like the little one?
Well,
so
yeah, it was a
cool.
big one.
Okay.
Big bus. And they did little pop-up conferences, little summits. They started talking to people about the Oola framework and how to balance your life in the 7 key areas. And it went from there. So
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And what was great about the bus is they always carry stickers with them for you to write your dream on there. And so the bus is layered with dreams from people from, I want to say, like 48 states right now.
There's 27 layers of stickers of people's biggest dreams on that bus now.
That is so cool. And they still drive it around. They still have
They
it?
do. As a matter of fact, they're going to be doing an event in a couple of days here in Arizona, and they're bringing the bus.
I think you guys invited me to that. I'll make sure that
Yeah.
I'm there for sure. That's really cool.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that we learned in doing this is that men especially are I wouldn't say scared, but they're reluctant to get help.
Yeah.
Right? And for lots of different reasons, like, you know, people might make fun of them. Sometimes I even heard like their spouses or partners make fun of them. We were talking about that the other day. And this is a platform where they could, you know, you don't ever want to be secret in a relationship, right? You don't want to have secrets, but it's a platform you could maybe do and help yourself that way without actually, you know what I mean, maybe a step before you get care, or a step after, or a step during, or,
Right.
But it seems like this is just a really good platform to kind of get you going and just a reminder every day type of thing.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about how you get started in it. Like, how does it start out? I think you said there's a mapping thing. I signed up, but I didn't do it yet.
Yeah.
So,
So the first thing you want to do once you do sign up and come into that membership club is you want to take time to block out a few hours in your day and take time and get really, really clear on life. And Oola helps you do that through a personalized blueprint. And there's a series of questions that you're going to go through and answer, and it's really around the 7 key areas of your life. And that is friends, it's family, it's faith, it's field, which is our careers, it's finances, it's fun, and it's fitness. So you get really clear on those 7 areas. And then once you've populated that, we've probably all seen those wheels. So your wheel comes out, and if anyone's wheel's like mine, I did not want that wheel rolling down the road because I had some flat, some dips in it. But I would say, to answer your question, the very first thing someone's going to do, and it's very personal. So to your point, I'm not going to have to involve my spouse or my significant other to help me do my own personalized blueprint. It's something I'm going to be able to do on my own to get me directionally headed in the right place.
Okay. Okay. Then all those things have to, I mean, they all go together really, right?
Well, one fact, if you have a dent in your wheel somewhere, it's going to affect the other areas of your life. So taking it from where you create the blueprint, it then shows you, okay, here's an area that you need to pump some air into, and that will help you customize your goals, right? And then it has a compatible app so that every day you can just write down the 3 most important things that you want to do that day, hopefully to pump air into the area that you really want to
That's really
get
cool.
more. Yeah. So yeah, it's accountability. It's fun. There's modules that come with it so that you can learn a little bit about each of those areas of life. There's so much to the platform. It's amazing.
That's really cool.
And with the modules, real quick, it personalizes it. When I say it's personalized, the first few modules that populate are your dents.
It's the areas that you need to work on the most.
That's how personalized it is. It knows which modules you need to get.
So it's a pretty in-depth program. Once you give it the information, then it figures stuff out for you. That's
In
really
depth,
cool.
but simple to use. If I can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah, that's what we all say, right? We always say that.
Yeah.
So I did this friend of mine, his wife is a life coach, and we did this like vision board thing, and we started out with a similar deal, and you'd like kind of color in where you were at, and
Right.
it was really, really cool. And then you'd have, like a list of goals, and it was really neat process, and it sounds like that's a little bit of it.
Yep.
If I wouldn't have been lazy this week, I would have done it and known more, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't really actually want to do that because I wanted to hear it from you guys, so you could kind of let us know what's up.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I realize is that, in this process, we're all here for a reason, and I know that we all have some stories, and if you guys want to share those, that'd be great. But I think it's important to understand like where we all came from,
Yeah.
and it qualifies us. Shelly and I were out gathering some information one night, like on dating. We were just out at this meetup thing, and the guy asked what we were doing there, right? And we were just walking around talking, and he goes, "What qualifies you guys to do this?" And I just read like a list of stuff, just really quick, like, well, as a firefighter, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh my God, okay. So it's not like we have to qualify anybody, but it's interesting to see or hear how people got to where they're at. And I know like you have a children's book and you do all kinds of stuff. You have a med spa, really amazing, amazing stuff. So we're all giving back in different ways. And I think it's really cool how everybody's banding together, especially, in this time after COVID or during COVID or whatever time it is right now.
Right.
But it's really cool to see that. So
Yeah.
do you want to share a little bit about?
Yeah, so I have been teaching people about the importance of having a very clear vision for your life over 25 years now. Unofficially, and then officially 10 years ago, I became a speaker and a coach on it. I created my own content 10 years ago on how to get your vision out of your head and onto paper. So it was pre-Oola. It was, me creating that content. I have my own book, a workbook that people can walk through. And I started teaching it because I learned the importance of having my own vision for my life when I was 25. And long story short, I ended up coaching a lot of entrepreneurs through the process. And unfortunately, 7 years ago, lost my husband to suicide. Excuse me. And then 3 years later, lost my 26-year-old son to suicide as well.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you. So Oola is a blessing for me because what I was wanting to do, originally I thought I was teaching vision so that you could create a successful business. And really now what I know, it's about helping people with their vision for hope. Because people without a vision lose hope really quickly. They drift. So I was just very blessed that this came into my life at a point where I was about ready to create my own app and try to make a bigger impact with my story, and merged with Oola.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. It's so funny how the business, like your entire life is one thing. And I did my story, my truth last week, and we're going to unpack that today, me and Shelly. But the amazing thing about that is that you don't realize how much trauma impacts you and how your personal life impacts your business life and your business life impacts your personal life. And you have to really bring all those same things together, like healthy's healthy, right? Like you try to, and a lot of the stuff applies. Like, my business is really dialed in. My personal life wasn't so much.
Yeah.
But I'm like, shit, if I make them both kind of the same and I apply those same theories and thoughts to the, then it works. And I think that's what a really cool thing about Oola is because it's everything, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's really neat. So I appreciate what you're doing. And you know, before I even met you, Shani said that you were just an amazing speaker and you were very well established, and she had a lot of really great things to say about you. So thanks for taking the time.
Nice, Shani.
Yeah, especially since you live out of town. You know, we're a pretty new show, so you know the credentials are building as we speak. But still, I really appreciate it. That's you having the faith in this and helping out. And
Well,
letting
what
us
you're
share the
doing is
information.
so needed. So needed.
Yeah, I've heard that quite a bit. So so we appreciate it. So you're up, Shani.
All right. Yeah, so Scott, you and I had a nice meeting out Monday night and was able to speak on Oola and speak on a lot of my past. And I wish I would have had not that I didn't go and look for an outlet or something like an Oola wasn't around in my teenage years or my early 20s. So in growing up, and it's exactly why I do the things I do now. We talked about I'm in the process of writing a children's book to get back to children, and I own a med spa, so I service others, and then of course Oola, just spreading that out into the community. And I know a lot of reason I do that is because of my childhood.
Sure.
I grew up not knowing my real father. So having things kept from me, a lot of that was all in the being abandoned in a sense, right? I don't want others to ever have to go through that, because I learned in my adult life that I had a nasty stepfather that molested me for, I don't know, probably a year and a half. I have a mother in denial of things like that. And so as I learned in my early 20s and mid 20s, that I didn't realize those were all triggers that I was like living up for the last 20, 30 years of my life. Thing about I like about Oola, and it's helped me so much over just the last 3 or 4 months. I like leap years ahead of where I was. I thought I was in a pretty good place. Having that platform for teenagers or for young adults out there that may have gone through childhood trauma, to help them get ahead of things much faster than I did, I think is amazing, which is one of the biggest reasons I jumped into Oola when Carey introduced it to me, because all I saw was help, 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 hope, 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 outlet, 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 a tribe, a community. That's what I saw when I saw that. So again, it was, I'm guessing, the triggers of my past and how I can help prevent that with others, right?
And people didn't even know back then, right? Not like you're old, but people didn't know what to do, or even if you did bring it up. You know, Brian Willingham was on here, one of our first shows that we did, and he had this thing, not the same thing, but a similar thing happened when he was 6 years old. And, you know, he even told his parents, and they didn't know what to do. Or, you know, with any of us, like, what do you say? You know, and that's the purpose of this show, is to help people understand that, hey, you know, if something traumatic happens in your life, you don't have to be a firefighter or a police officer or in the military. You can have stuff happen in your life that's so impactful and so major that it changes your subconscious and it affects everything you do for your whole life. And here's the funny thing that I think this is absolutely amazing, is that we all figure out a way to adapt and think that we're okay. But like, I was running at 70% I'm 51. And I was running at 70% until, like, you know, a few months ago. So it's amazing how we can adapt and overcome, but there's always that subconscious that affects your decisions or your moods, or, you know, how you might react to somebody cutting you off on the freeway, or you're like, God, why did I get so pissed? Because I'm fucking still mad, you know? So sorry to cuss in front of you ladies, but yeah, it's one of those things that's so impactful. And that's another purpose of the show, is to let people know that, hey, you know, trauma's trauma. Your brain doesn't know the difference between a broken leg or, you know, the unfortunate things that you both experience. So
yeah, it's just so important for people to know that. For me, it was fear, it was embarrassment, it was shame, it was, I mean, I didn't even start talking about it until about a year ago, really, to just like for me to sit with you the other night and talk to you. I was just like, whoa, this is healing.
So
this is cool.
Yeah, it's so amazing.
And like, you messaged me the next morning, see how I was doing, and I'm like, I woke up like at 3:30, 4 o'clock, just thinking about it, reliving. And as you spoke to that, as it's part of the process, it's part of the healing process. And if I had any advice to give anyone or say out there, it would be your voice matters. People want to hear what you have to say, and speak your truth.
Yeah, we talk a lot about that on the show, and one of the things we were talking about is like in a relationship, especially in your like romantic relationship, your partner, husband, whatever, wife, whatever, that it's so important to tell your story, because like your story would be hugely impactful, and yours too. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but if you were in a relationship with somebody that you cared about and they didn't know that, that would really, you know what I'm saying? It would affect, because that would affect how I would respond. I'd have a ton of empathy in certain situations, you know what I'm saying? I'd be like, oh, that's why, okay, I better chill on this and like let this flow and we'll sit and talk about it. And you know what I'm saying? Of course, if you're with the right person.
Yeah.
But it's important, and like you said, truth, I don't think you should ever hold that stuff back. We actually talked about that on Monday night. I was like, God, I would never hold that back, And I appreciate you sharing that with me, because we barely knew each other.
I know.
But we actually met, it was funny how we met. I met Shani, I didn't even meet you, but we were on Instagram, and she kept posting all these really great things, and I was like, hey, this is amazing. We're doing this show. What would what do you think? And she's like, oh, well, join this call. So I joined a call, and I'm like, oh, Oola. Ooh la la. That was pretty cool, right? So then we met, and the show's going on, and I met you on a video call or whatever it was. Like, I don't remember which one it was, but super cool how all this kind of comes together, So I really appreciate it. It's neat talking to you guys, and I'm excited. We'll share the Oola information. We can put that on our website, and I look forward to meeting the founders on Monday. Monday they're going to be here.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
So we'll make sure we do that, and we really appreciate your time. Thanks a lot.
We appreciate you having
Very
us
cool.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Everybody, thanks for watching. That was Carey and Shani with Oola. Thanks a lot for your time.